So welcome back to the DenCast, everybody. We are on episode number 4. Joining us tonight is new Brimley varsity football coach Mason Harris. Mason, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm glad to hear that. You were just recently named head coach. How did that process go down for you?
Yeah, it took some time, especially because I'm young. So there was kind of some, hesitation. But I think I kind of really made my point towards the school and the athletic department that, I'm not just trying to be here 1-2 years. As long as I can be, I want to be there. And I got a lot of ideas and things to change the culture. So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay, so when you say you're young, exactly how young are you?
I'm 21 right now.
Okay, so 21, so 3 years older than your oldest players probably, huh?
Correct.
Okay. Are you worried at all about that little age difference, or is that something that doesn't matter to you?
No, I have a really good relationship with the kids. I mean, I've known them for forever, because I've been around the area, so they've always been around. So, and I've played there, and they see me, so I feel like they kind of respect me a little bit more.
Okay.
And they know.
Well, in fact, you've probably played with at least a couple of these kids, right? I mean, when you were a senior and they were freshmen?
No, that was last year.
Okay, so you're missing them by a year.
Yeah.
Okay. You talked about changing the culture. What are some of the ideas that you have that you feel like will change that culture?
Well, first we need to get in the weight room. I mean, we haven't really had a good weight program, and ever since I've been in school, like, we have to take the initiative as student athletes to go and work out on our own time instead of having a collective school group, kids from this sport and that sport coming to work out instead of it being like, oh, basketball time, basketball players work out. Football time, football players work out. No. Summertime, work out as a school.
Okay.
As an athletic group.
Okay, and how do you feel like that's been going so far?
Well, we didn't know how it was really going to go starting it up, halfway through summer, but we've had max 10 kids come out at once, especially them, taking time off work and, not going for a trip just so they can come to work out and be there. So,
Yeah, that's not a bad number, especially in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've talked about with Brimley coaches in the past is the fact that they have a very hard time getting kids to come out in the summer, and then even when football season starts, for the first 2 weeks before school starts, or 3 weeks, whatever it is now, they have a hard time getting players on the field. Do you feel like that's not going to be the case this year?
I wouldn't say that's not going to be the case, but we're going to try to push to see, how many kids we can get out there early. So the more kids we have out early, the more conditioned our kids are. So once practice starts, we don't have to worry about conditioning the first 2 weeks. We can get right into the offense, the defense, form tackling, blocking, all that stuff that you need to have going into your first game, especially when you play St. Ignace that's just now dropping down. And I heard they were pretty good last year.
Yeah, that would be correct. They were pretty tough last year, although they did lose a ton of players last year. You mentioned earlier before we actually started the podcast that you guys had gone to Newberry last night. And you said it was 5-on-5?
Yeah, we had a 5-on-5 last night in Newberry.
Okay, and how did that go?
It went well for the amount of kids that we had out. I know some of the coaches said that as soon as school stopped, they had kids right away in the weight room, football program, working together. We didn't have that till probably about 2-3 weeks ago. So going in the 5-on-5, we didn't know, what was going to happen because we didn't go against the defense. We just had running the offense. We didn't have no defenders. So the kids came out, ran really good routes, and quarterback Trey, he was throwing good balls. So it was, I think everybody came out with a positive outlook on what it could be.
And that's kind of nice because when something positive happens in that first time against an opponent, actually, it can change. That can be a culture change situation right there.
Yeah.
Now, what year did you graduate?
2021.
Okay, and you were a 4-year varsity player at Brimley, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What does Mason Harris, the coach, take from Mason Harris, the football player, to make this a successful program?
Well, I know first off, weight room. Because my freshman year, I was probably 160. Sophomore year, I knew because I was getting a lot of touches. My freshman year, I knew I had to get some weight on me.
Yep.
Weight on me, probably had, one of my best years there all around. And then it just building from there. Senior year, I was, 185, 190. And I felt like every single game I was going to make an impact. I was going to do something.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to get these kids, like, you work at this, you really dive in to the techniques and how you should do it, you're going to see results. You put in the work, you're going to see results.
Sure. Now, as a new coach, one of the first things that I imagine you did was start to put together a staff.
Yes.
Who have you recruited to be on your staff thus far?
Right now, I have my cousin Travis Wing. He played football at Brimley.
Yep.
His kid is a senior this year, Traylon.
Yep.
He's our starting quarterback. So, and he knows a lot, and he's kind of like a figure I look up to. So he gives me a lot of good advice. He doesn't try to step on my toes. He tries to let me be me and then help out when he can. And then I talked to, I don't want to mess up his name, Leon DeRusha. I talked to him, and he said that he'd come out once practice started, 3-4 days, and he coached with my grandpa. So I feel like that's somebody that I could really use on the coaching staff, especially for the kids, but mainly more for me to see how he acts and handles practice.
Yeah, Leon would be a great person to have on your sideline during the season and in practice. Very knowledgeable football guy. Anybody else, or is that right now that's it?
Right now that's it. We're
Okay.
still looking for, it's kind of tough in the middle of the summer to find somebody, especially when you don't know what's going on with the program. So
Yep.
now I don't want to say we're in scramble mode, but we're trying to find somebody real quick so they can get comfortable with what's going on.
Sure. Well, I mean, you were hired a little bit later. I mean, I that's the way I feel about it anyway. A lot of coaches have that sense of continuity already because they've either been there from the year prior or they've been hired way earlier in the off season. So I don't know if I'd characterize like you said, I don't know if I'd characterize it as scramble mode, but definitely a need.
Yeah, we're in a rush right now.
Okay.
Trying to figure things out.
You said you've had about 10 kids show up for open gyms so far, as far as being in the weight room?
Yes.
Okay. Are those the same 10 that went to Newberry with you, or how many did you have in Newberry?
We had 8 in Newberry.
8 in Newberry? Okay. That's not a bad number for a 5-on-5.
No. We had one of the 10 kids was a 7th grader. He came out and he was in the weight room for about 3 days working with us, and then I don't know, just couldn't make it, couldn't get a ride. So
okay. Well, I mean, that's where it starts right there.
Yeah.
It's getting those younger kids in and building the program from those levels, and then you see the results at the varsity level. So you mentioned your cousin Travis is going to be on your staff. You do have a fairly rich family tradition at Brimley with your grandfather being Dick Amble. Dick Amble was the athletic director for a number of years. He's your grandfather. Your aunt, Rhonda, coaching the volleyball team and playing at Brimley for a number of years. Your mom, JoJo, playing at Brimley for a number of years, and she's always around Brimley sports, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
How does that support make it easier for you to take on this task?
Well, I know I have a lot of, people that I don't have there's not a lot of expectations on me right now. So I feel kind of comfortable, especially when people are like, you got this, we're proud of you,
Mm-hmm.
Good, good for you taking on this responsibility, trying to change and help these kids. So I feel like I got a lot of people on my side and a lot of people I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
That are helping me.
That's awesome. That's a great feeling to have. Now, your mom is maybe Well, let's just say that there's never any question as to whether JoJo's in the building or not.
Correct.
Do you ever get to the point where you're like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, stop"?
No.
And fair warning, she is going to hear this.
Yeah.
So.
No. She's gonna say what she wants to say, regardless of how I feel. That's just how it is, you know. Well, she'll get on me in the games, you know. I do something wrong or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. I'll hear it. I'm like, I don't want to hear it when I'm at home. I better do it right now.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's one thing about your mom is she's pretty blunt and pretty truthful in what she's saying. You know, she's not going to sugarcoat stuff for you. Like I say, I think is a positive for you. So you mentioned earlier that you're still looking for a couple of people to help on the coaching staff. What specifically are you looking for in that regard?
We're looking for a Colts coach. Kind of looking for somebody that might stay around for a few years that has either coaching experience or has played the sport so they know how to talk to the kids, how to prepare the kids, and they'll also be able to come and ask us, you know, what offense are they going to run, especially with the 8th graders that they have? What offense are they going to run next year?
Okay, so, and just to be clear, the Colts is the middle school football program.
Yeah, Colts is the middle school football program, 6th through 8th grade.
Okay, and that program has actually had decent numbers, has it not?
It has. The last few years, we've had pretty good numbers. Over 16 for, I know, since 4 years ago, we've had over 16 kids every year. I know the first year I started coaching the Colts, I think we had 25 kids come out, and maybe only 6 of them have played football before, flag and tackle.
Okay.
And so we got a lot of kids that haven't played, and now they're still playing because they fell in love with the game, or they just liked, you know, the camaraderie and what they were doing out there.
That's a big part of football. I mean, and it's kind of funny because in Brimley they've had some very good athletes that don't always come out and play football. It would be nice if you were able to kind of turn that around a little bit and get some of the better athletes to come out and play football. Do you feel like maybe that's a possibility in the upcoming years?
Yeah, that's a possibility in the upcoming years, but at the same time, I understand if you want to go to college to play baseball and you're going to focus on baseball all year round. But as long as you're sticking to it, these really good athletes that don't play football or don't play basketball, and during that season, they're not doing anything, they're just hanging around, not working on their game. That's the thing that I'm trying to change. I don't necessarily care if you play football or not, but I want it so that if you want to go to college, you have to get on your grades and you have to put in the work now. You can't wait till the season starts.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good outlook to have on the whole situation. You raise an interesting point, though, and it's one that I know that other schools have struggled with. Kids playing one sport year-round. At a bigger school, maybe even bigger than the Sioux, that's not necessarily an issue. Like in a Petoskey, for example, there's plenty of kids that just play baseball or just play football or just play basketball. But up in our area where we have a lot of 8-man teams and a lot of small Class D schools, it's important, and this is just my opinion now, it's important that kids play more than one sport because there simply aren't enough athletes to go around to say, I'm only going to play this or I'm only going to play that.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I understand, like, oh, I'm a basketball player or I'm a baseball player, but you're an athlete still. You can play more than one sport. Yeah, you can specialize on that one, but you're an athlete. There's other athletes in the school that need you to play this sport so they can win or have fun doing it so they're not losing all the time.
So you're working full time at a different job.
Correct.
Okay, what do you do for what's your bill paying gig?
I work for Superior Township. I'm part of the water and sewer department.
Okay. All right. So does that allow you the time you need to go to practice, go to the weight room, go to scrimmages, go to, everything that needs going to?
Oh, my boss is one of the best. If I need to do something, he understands, and he's willing to let me do it as long as I let him know. It can't be last minute. Nobody wants to. Oh, sorry, I gotta leave. Nobody likes that.
Right.
You gotta respect him enough to let him know. But if I let him know, he's perfectly fine with, go do what you gotta do.
That makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Huh? What now? With all the family connections, what's your brother up to nowadays? What's Marcus up to?
Right now, he's a walk-on at LSSU, and so he's going to be fighting for minutes, but he's been putting in a lot of work, and he's been training all summer.
Okay.
And they're going over to Italy, I think, pretty soon.
Wow.
For, I don't know, a week and a half. So
okay.
Him and my mom are going over there, and so I guess they're going to be playing some grown men over there. So
I would think so. yeah, that'll be no joke. Should we expect to see him on the sideline at all? I mean, he's kind of a rah-rah guy. Is he going to show up and help?
Oh yeah, if I ask him, you want to come down there, he'll for sure come down there. But with his schedule, I don't know if got college going on. I don't know if he's got to study or whatever. So but I'm sure if he's able to be there, he'll be there.
Okay. Now, coaching and trying to sort of, I don't know if resurrect is the right word, but certainly revive Brimley football. Is that important to you personally, or is that important just for the whole program?
Well, it's definitely important for the whole program, but it is important to me too, because boost myself up or anything like that. But freshman through senior year, I did everything I could to try and let people know, we can compete. You're not just gonna come every single time over to Brimley or play Brimley and you get a win. You're gonna have to fight for it. It's not just gonna be given to you. And that's one thing I really want to start now is, just because you're playing Pickford or Red Yard and they're a powerhouse doesn't mean you just lay over. You got to fight. You can't just, we're playing Pickford this week. We're not going to win. Well, with that attitude, you're not going to win. You at least got to think, we got a chance. We got enough guys on our team. We got the right coaches. We got the right formations in the playbook that we can go out there and give them a test.
Well, I hope you're right about that. That would be entertaining to watch. Do you feel like some of the other schools in the league are going to be a little bit down this year? We talked about St. Agnes losing a vast majority of their talent. Rudyard is going to be losing quite a number of key players. Pickford is obviously going to come back pretty strong this year. I think they only lost 2 to graduation. And then you guys lost Perry LeBlanc, Owen Johnson. How do you have players that you feel like can fill those voids, or are you still looking for that?
Right now, we're waiting for everybody to get around and see what we really have. But if the people come out that are supposed to come out and that say they're going to come out, we can definitely fill those voids.
Okay. Now, Trey, you talked about Trey Lynn as the starting quarterback. Who's gonna carry the ball?
We're probably gonna spread it out quite a few because Trey's got an arm. He wants to play college baseball, but he could, if he wanted to play college football or college basketball and he puts his mind to it, he can do it. He's that type of guy.
Yeah.
So right now we're definitely Tadgerson. He's definitely gonna be running the ball.
Okay.
He's just a madman. Derek Carrick, we think might run the ball, and we're gonna have to see if somebody else comes out that we think can bounce outside a couple of times and make the right reads and block.
Okay.
We're looking for someone that can do it all, not just here you go, run the ball. No, you gotta catch, you gotta block.
Got to do it all.
You gotta do it all.
Okay. How has Cooper Jones looked so far? Is he one of your guys that's been showing up in the weight room?
Oh yeah, he's showing up. Anytime he can come, they're playing baseball too, so they're balancing. Anytime they can come in the weight room, they're there. They got baseball practice, go to baseball practice, go to the baseball game, you want to play baseball, go ahead and play baseball. But when you can, at least come to work out. And he's been doing that as much as he can. And 5-on-5 yesterday, you could tell he's one of the best athletes out there.
Yeah.
You throw a ball up to him, he's going to go get it.
Well, that's good news for you guys.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed was that you had posted a few things on Facebook. That's actually where I got the Newberry information from. Is that the best way for people to keep up with what's going on with Brimley football right now, is your Facebook page?
Correct. The Facebook page is one of our biggest ways to contact parents and kids, and that's where we're going to be posting fundraisers and all that. So, we can get as many people to look at it as possible. Instead of like a group chat or something like that, Facebook, I feel like, is probably the best way to have people look at it, because a lot of people have it,
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll be able to find the link to the Brimley football Facebook page on our DenCast post when that is made available. Over the last few years, the program has struggled a little bit. Fan attendance is sometimes on the low side. What do you feel like is a good way to start getting people to come back and support and watch Brimley football?
Well, it definitely starts at practice. If we practice hard and we do what we're supposed to do at practice, it's going to show in the game. And if it shows in the game and it looks good, which it should, people are going to want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
They hear, Brimley lost 2 in a row. Wow. I don't know if I really want to go watch it. Oh, Brimley won 2 in a row? Oh, well, let me see what they're doing. Let me see what they're running.
Well, and you kind of made this point earlier that if the kids go out and lay down and roll over, fans and parents see that. And you can still lose a football game and have your fan base be happy with the result as long as the kids are playing hard.
Yes.
If they go out and roll over and get beat 52-0, then that's a little different story. That leaves a bad taste in people's mouth when they leave the football field or the school that night. One of the biggest things, like I said, you talked about earlier, was making sure that no matter what the score is, no matter what the situation is, that your kids are going to play hard. How are you going to instill that?
Well, I know, I'm a Steelers fan, so I got this from Mike Tomlin. No excuses, no explanations, right? You mess up, fix it.
Okay.
You want to know my opinion and you want to ask what I think, then go ahead and ask me. But if I say, no, you did that wrong, I don't want to hear why you did it wrong. I just want you to do it right the next time. You don't have to give me an explanation. I don't need an excuse. I need you to fix it and go do it right.
And do you feel like the kids that have been showing up so far and the kids that will continue to come out as the season, as practice begins, do you feel like you'll be able to get that mindset in their heads?
Yeah, I do feel like that. I can get that mindset in their heads, because the kids now that are coming, like I said, they know me for a while. They know how I am, and when it really gets down to it, it really gets down to it.
Okay.
We're not going to be farting around for 15 minutes at practice. We're already behind the 8 ball. We can't have that. Every minute counts at practice. Every snap counts during practice and in game. That's one thing that I really want. Every snap, it counts. Don't take a play off. You mess up on that play or it doesn't come to your side, that doesn't mean you sit there. You go follow the ball. You could have a cutback lane. You could get a tackle just from, hustling. But if it doesn't go to your side, it might go to your side the next time. So you have to be ready.
Sure. Okay, so one last thing that I want to talk about, and this is more for me personally. Please, please, please tell me that you're going to use Huddle this year. The football program, the one that generates all the statistics, and is that the plan?
Yeah, the plan is to use Huddle.
Okay, because Bob Cameron coached last year, and I like Bob Cameron, good guy.
Oh, I love Bob.
Did not use Huddle very much. And so getting statistics was troublesome at best. So for my own peace of mind, let me sleep at night and use huddle so that when I call you and say, how many yards did Cooper Jones have? You can tell me, oh, he carried the ball 15 times for 75 yards and 1 touchdown or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to try to have a statistic, someone that just takes stats. It's going to be tough,
Sure.
to not watch the game and be able to just take stats and look at certain plays, who caught this, who ran the ball, who got that tackle, instead of looking broad and be like, oh, dang, I think I missed that.
Well, the beauty of huddle is you can go back and watch the game after the game, and you can stat it yourself with a coach's eyes instead
we'll
of...
have two. We'll have somebody during the game writing the stats down, and then I'll have it, and then I'll go on huddle, and I'll just compare what did she or he see during the game, and what did I see during huddle. And I feel like that should really help get the stats to where they need to be.
Well, and that's kind of another thing that that helps you in the long run, because kids, whether they admit it or not, they pay attention to that stuff. If a kid looks at a story that's published somewhere and says, oh, look at that, I had 15 tackles, as opposed to seeing nothing because we don't get statistics, it makes a difference. If a kid gets 100 yards rushing, it makes a difference. They like to see and hear and read that stuff. So yeah, I would encourage all of our coaches to be as exact with their statistics as possible.
Yeah, one thing that I had to talk with Leon and talk for 45, 50 minutes. One thing that he brought up a really good idea is after the games, make a highlight tape. Put it out during lunch, so the kids can watch it. If someone makes a good play, maybe a kid's watching it. It's like, oh, I could do that. I should try out for football. Just get more eyes on the program and see like, hey, that looks kind of fun. I think I could do that. So let me go try. Just kids coming out just to try. That's what we need. You got to try before anything happens. You can't just sit there and be like,
Well, I mean, like you say, you're trying to change the culture, and sitting there doing the same old things over and over and over again isn't going to change the culture at all. Trying that new idea, showing that highlight reel, like you say, maybe the difference between a kid going, whatever, or a kid showing up and saying, hey, coach, I'd like to try out.
Yeah.
So yeah, good on you guys for coming up with ideas and being a little creative. So we have officially reached the end of our 4th podcast. I would encourage all of you to like and share when this is available. We have used some new technology. We'll see whether that comes through in the podcast or not, in the audio. We've turned my office into a sort of jungle gym of wires and microphones and a small mixing board. So we'll see how that turns out.
It's called a studio.
Whatever. Anyway, thank you again for tuning in, listening, liking, sharing specifically. We'll be back next week with a new guest. Thank you guys for listening, and girls, and we'll talk to you soon.